Welcome to the first episode of our BYD Shark build series. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most essential upgrades for your ute, which is the tub cover. This is something you're going to be using on a day-to-day basis, and it's essential that you get it right because it adds a huge amount of practicality and functionality to the setup of your ute. Now, particularly with the BYD Shark, you don't have a huge amount of room to work with in the tub. So you're going to want to choose a cover that doesn't take up too much space. Now the issue with the roller shutter is that when it folds back, it takes up a huge amount of space in here, which affects how much gear you can take with you. The other issue with the roller shutter is that you can't take anything on top. Whereas with the load lid, you can load this right up, which effectively doubles your storage space. The other issue if you opt to go for a roller shutter is they're not very durable. You get some sand or dust or something into the roller shutter and it will just jam straight up. Now we're going to have a look at the load lid. So unlike a roller shutter, the load lid is built with strong bones. That means that you can carry gear directly on top, which effectively doubles your load carrying capacity because you can have your swag, your recovery tracks, your adventure and trade gear on top here, and then stow your valuable gear underneath, under the lid in the tub. And when everything's in the tub, you don't have to worry about your gear getting wet or broken into because it's all locked away and secure. The load lid also has a few other features that make it unique. The first one we're going to look at here is the load stop. Now the load stop acts as a stopping point, so if you're putting a wheelbarrow or a swag or whatever it is on here, it will slide forward and hit this before going through your window. It also acts as a third tie rail, so you can have straps going side to side and then also over to the front, which means it's super secure on top of the lid. Now this may seem excessive, but the load lid has 26 tie points along the side rails. This really comes in handy when you're trying to secure an awkward size object. You can basically strap it back to anywhere on the lid. It makes it easy to strap things down. The UteMaster load lid has made a name for itself for being the most customizable hard lid on the market, and there's a reason for that. Basically anything that you can put on a standard roof rack, you can fit to the UteMaster load lid. Here I have an example of the tool mount kit, which is fitted to the Destroyer side rail. Basically you can open it up here and fit that straight in. This means you can mount anything to the T-track on top of the side rails here. And then if you look underneath the load lid, there's also T-tracks all through the strong bones underneath here, so you can put other gear underneath as well. Now if you look at some hard lids, you'll notice that the side rail foot sits in quite far from the side of the lid. This basically means that you lose a lot of load space. So if you look at the Destroyer side rails here, they're right out to the edge of the lid and they actually sit down on this tapered edge. That basically means you have as much load space as possible to fill this right up. One other thing that makes the UteMaster load lid really unique is its load ratings. So unlike other hard lids, we have a static and a dynamic load rating. Basically it's rated to 400 kgs of static, which is how much weight you can put on top of the lid when it's parked, or 200 kgs of dynamic, which is how much you can have on there when you're driving. As part of the Strong Bones philosophy, it's not just a number that we've made up, it's something that we've tested and proven. Now some lids you buy will come as a flat pack, which is super annoying. It'll basically turn up and you've got to seal everything with silicone, put all the bits together, and it just opens doors for things to go wrong. So what can happen is water can come in through at the front of the tub, you can have to drill into it. It's a real pain. Now with the load lid, it just comes as one complete unit. That basically means that everything's put together at our factory and tested to make sure that it's going to be up to standard. So since the load lid comes pre-assembled, it's actually really easy to install. Everything just goes straight into the factory mounting points into the tub. So you know that it's really strong and it's easy to put together. If you want to take the load lid off, you just undo the bolts that are holding it into the fixing points. You basically just need a mate to help you lift it off with you and you'll unplug the wiring looms at the front here. When you open some hard lids, the opening angle of the lid is somewhere down here, which really restricts access to the front of the tub. The load lid opens right up so you can easily reach in and grab gear out from the front. One thing that often gets overlooked, and you'll notice it as soon as you see other hard lids, is that they're often flat at the top. And what this means is that all of the bracing and everything underneath the aluminium checker plate sits below the lid and it actually takes up space in the tub. If you look at the UteMaster lid here, everything's up on an angle and the frame that's used underneath it is up inside there. I'll show you what that means inside. So if you open it up here, you can see all this bracing and everything is sitting basically level with the bottom of this bulb seal. And what that means is you have all of the available height in the tub from the bottom of the tub right up to this top edge here that you can utilize for load space. Just as an example, in the back here I've got some Milwaukee pack out gear. I've measured from the bottom of the tub to the top edge of the tub here, which I've got about 530 mils. And the pack outs sit just below that. So if I was to have a typical hard lid that's flat on the top with bracing underneath, I couldn't actually fit this gear in the back of my tub. So that's a key consideration to look at when you're purchasing a tub cover. One other handy feature on this Shark is the automatic tailgate, which drops like that. We often get asked about this locking plate on the load lid and whether it can be removed. It's basically there to stop people from being able to access the tub when the lid is closed. So it acts as a second layer of security. So if you want to take it off, you can easily do so, making it easier to get into your tub. Now, one other accessory you might have already noticed is the MuleTech system that we've got inside the tub. I'm going to show you how this works. It's inspired by Molle panels and basically mounts into the factory mounting points here in the tub. I'm going to be covering this off in a later video, but if you're interested in this accessory, let us know in the comments below. Now there's a ton of other things that we haven't covered in this video. What we're saying is the load lid has had no expense spared in making this the ultimate tub cover for your BYD Shark. It's something that you need to see in person to really grasp what this thing is. If you want a tub cover for your BYD Shark 6 that's built for what matters, the Ute Master load lid is it.